Violent protests, surging crime rates, a nation divided. France, once a beacon of liberty and equality, is now at a crossroads as immigration reshapes its society. The streets of Paris bear witness to the consequences of unchecked migration. The country is grappling with a contentious debate about identity, security, and its future. As the number of immigrants rises, France faces the harsh reality that its once welcoming approach may no longer be sustainable. In 2015, Europe saw an unprecedented 1.3 million refugees seeking asylum. France, fed up with the influx, has taken a firm stance against immigration, declaring enough is enough. How has the journey from post-war boom to modern challenges shaped France today? After World War II, France welcomed immigrants to rebuild the country and fill labor shortages. The 1970s economic downturn led to stricter policies and efforts to reduce foreign workers. In the 1980s and 1990s, France focused on integrating existing immigrants while limiting new immigration. Under President Sarkozy in the 2000s, France adopted selective immigration, favoring skilled workers and professionals. The turning point in France's immigration stance came in the wake of the tragic Paris attacks of November 2015.
A horrifying situation.
130 people.
The refugee crisis challenged France's immigration system. 70% of the French citizens expressed deep dissatisfaction with the EU's handling of the crisis. What is the true reality of immigration in France? While political rhetoric often paints a picture of a new and growing issue, the reality is that 21% of immigrants in France have been undocumented at some point, a figure that has remained stable for decades. The portion of immigrants in France's population has risen from 6.5% in 1968 to 10.3% in 2021, now totaling 7 million people. In 2021, France welcomed 278,000 new immigrants, a 20% increase from the previous year, with a majority coming from Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. The number of asylum applicants also saw a significant 33% spike in 2022, with most originating from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Turkey, with nearly 45% of applicants being granted protection. These are the highest numbers since the 1980s. Interestingly, French citizens emigrating to OECD countries also increased by 20% in 2021, with popular destinations including Switzerland, Spain, and Canada. In 2023 alone, France issued nearly 48,000 permits for humanitarian reasons, a 15% rise, primarily to refugees. One significant challenge for immigrants in France is that they have a higher unemployment rate than people born in France. This issue is especially noticeable for immigrants from outside the European Union, who face unemployment rates 2 to 5 percentage points higher than native-born French citizens. The fiscal impact of immigration is generally small, ranging from -0.5% to +0.5% of GDP in most countries. On a global scale, the United Nations estimates that the number of international migrants reached 281 million in 2020, accounting for about 3.6% of the world's population. Will the controversial Darmanin law solve the crisis or deepen the divide? France's new immigration law, passed in early 2023, marks a significant shift in the country's approach to managing immigration and integration. Dubbed the Darmanin Law after Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin, aims for tighter conditions on family reunifications, annual immigration quotas, and a preference in welfare benefits for French citizens. Children born in France to foreign parents won't just get citizenship.
Il m'a laissé dehors dans la rue et j'ai attendu encore 5 mois pour le juge pour un rendez-vous. Il m'a pas donné le rendez-vous.
Dual nationals accused of crimes could be stripped of their French passports faster. It also seeks to regularize undocumented workers in critical sectors. Estimates place the number of undocumented workers between 600,000 and 900,000. The new immigration law has sparked protests and divided public opinion, with critics accusing President Macron of capitulating to far-right pressure. Polls reveal that while 70% of the French support the law, 73% believes it echoes the policies of Marine Le Pen's party. Europe's migrant crisis. Are we heading towards an inevitable breakdown? In 2021, Europe experienced 380,000 illegal border crossings, a 17% increase from the previous year. Most of these crossings were made by Syrians, Guineans, and Afghans. Media coverage on both sides of the sea has been intense, yet often misses the deep-rooted impacts of unchecked immigration. The focus tends to gloss over the significant strain migration places on local resources, security, and social cohesion. This overshadows critical discussions about safeguarding borders and preserving citizens' quality of life. In 2023, Darmanin declared a hardline. France will not accept any migrants from the overwhelmed Italian island of Lampedusa. This marks a significant shift from previous policies. In just 2 days, between September 12th and 14th, over 7,000 people arrived on Lampedusa, pushing the total to 10,000, a record for an island of only 6,000 inhabitants. Between January 1st and July 23rd, over 84,300 people arrived in Italy by sea, a 144% increase from 2022. Lampedusa alone accounted for over half of these arrivals. The central Mediterranean route saw 232,350 irregular border crossings into the EU in the first 8 months of 2023, the highest since 2016. Italy, led by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, is also taking a hard stance, advocating for a naval blockade to prevent further migrant boats from setting sail.
Consentirò che l'Italia diventi un campo profughi d'Europa.
France is following suit, increasing border patrols and drone surveillance over the Alps to prevent unauthorized entries. Is the UK sabotaging France's efforts to curb illegal migration? France's Court of Accounts, an independent auditor, has highlighted significant shortcomings in the Franco-British collaboration on managing migrant crossings. The report criticizes the UK for providing only superficial intelligence about migrant movements, severely hindering French efforts to manage the crisis effectively. In 2022 alone, there were over 45,000 attempts to cross into Britain, with the French thwarting 56% of these efforts. The success rate remains unchanged from the previous year and is still insufficient. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's administration claims robust action and enhanced cooperation, yet the French report presents a different picture, one of an unbalanced relationship where vital intelligence is withheld and operational collaboration fails. Despite this, the necessary bilateral cooperation remains elusive, plagued by political posturing and ineffective execution. This situation raises serious questions about the sincerity and effectiveness of international agreements and the real barriers to controlling a crisis with both humanitarian and political implications. As the debate over how best to manage migration continues, can we ever achieve genuine international cooperation? Or are we just heading toward an inevitable and escalating crisis?